90-degree heat.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
I don't
pretty
blame you.
I'm pretty satisfied with. It's like 85 degrees today. So
Oh, where you're at?
yeah, yeah I turned off the AC just so it's not so noisy during this interview, but I may have to turn it on at some point. Where's
Oh yeah,
Toronto in relation to Minnesota?
actually not
I
that
don't know
far.
that I've.
We're just
No,
right
I've
here.
been to Winnipeg, but oh, okay, cool.
Hey, Winnipeg is basically like, well, almost on the border there for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Toronto's over here, and we actually do get 90 or 100-degree heat on occasion. So Canada is not
hmm
the frozen tundra that some make it out to be.
Yeah, Great Lakes region. Right on.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. In any case, we are live. So
Cool.
thank you to everyone for joining us, and thank you, Luke, for making the time today. I appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, of course, of course. Um, we were talking earlier about your work, and so you said most of the stuff that you have, or the library of your work rather, it's all just centered around neighborhoods that you travel to, like within your vicinity.
Mostly, and whenever I have to, basically wherever I'm traveling, I bring a camera. So yeah, I've taken a few pictures on road trips and stuff, but most of the time I am not going more than like 10 or 15 miles away from my home. Um, and I
Gotcha.
try to find a new neighborhood like every weekend, some new park, some new neighborhood I haven't been to before.
And what is it that got you to pick up the camera in the first place? Because I'd imagine you'd been driving around that region for, well, as you said before we started, you've been there all your life. Um, what is
Yeah,
it that made
and
you want to capture it?
well, I've always loved taking pictures, and particular, I've always taken phone pictures, but I'm old enough that I remember the tail end of disposable cameras, and
Oh yeah.
you know, every Walgreens was selling them. It was just like a normal part of going to Walgreens and getting your meds and your disposable camera. Um, and I used to love doing that. I don't know when they phased that out. Like probably like 2008, 2010. But I missed it. And then I had this old Twitter account and I started getting like photo Twitter coming into my feed and just seeing all the film pictures people were taking, and it really made me just want to start again. Um I
Oh,
guess
fair
the
enough.
thing that I really like about taking film pictures is the anticipation. It's not even like I think that film is better than digital, because it's probably not. Like lots of people say that you can just make a digital photo look exactly like a film photo, but I really love kind of like going in blind and then just waiting 2 weeks to get it developed and see what you've got. Um, Something about that really appeals to me.
The delayed gratification, the fact that it's like not instant, and you're hoping that it's a good shot, but you're not quite sure how it'll turn out. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and it makes you have to be a little more careful. It teaches you patience. You have to be a little more intentional with what you're taking pictures of. Um, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep. No, I've dabbled in film. I get it. It's probably my favorite, um, one of my favorite mediums to work with, just because like you can try to angle up your shot and take all the preparation that you want, but at the end of the day, if like, let's say somehow, like, I don't know, during either the production process, or at any point, if you're just like fumbling with the camera, if just like a little streak of light hits the film just right, you get some nice like exposure to it, and it just
oh,
alters the shot.
totally. Yeah, the light leaks are always accidental, but they always look awesome. That's not something that you're gonna easily reproduce with a phone camera. Um, Another thing that I like to try and do is I'll just try and forget I'll try and wipe my mind of all the pictures I took. I'll try and like give myself amnesia and just totally forget everything. So then like there'll be pictures that I don't remember taking. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like it's really fun. I guess it's just a fun process. I find it much more fun than using a phone. And like you said, like the light leaks and all these various exposure quirks that create effects you're not expecting. It's just yeah,
Yeah, it's like a nice little
quite fun.
surprise.
Exactly. Like this one, I was just blown away by how how well it came out. Like the way the colors just pop and the shadows are so black. Like uh I knew it would look good, but I didn't think it would look quite that good.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of impressive how it comes out because like you have this idea of what the image is going to look like, but as you said, enough time passes that
Mm-hmm.
you kind of forget and you get the film back and you're like, "Whoa, that's a lot better than I thought it would look."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I guess digital is kind of a different skill almost because you can take like a billion pictures and just like narrow it down to the perfect one. And that, that takes some editorial talent, I guess, uh, to be able to figure out which of 100 picture roll is the exact right shot. But it's sort of almost just like an entirely different process where you're going in completely blind.
Yeah, no, I get that. And now, how do
Mhm.
you go about actually like scanning these photos? Do you just like have like a bed scanner that like you just put them on, or is there a particular process that you have for it?
So I have just been using services. There's a few labs around me that I've just been going to. Eventually, yes, I am going to invest in a scanner and learn the whole development process. That's like my goal for the next part of this summer because I've been doing this for like less than a year now. So yeah, the first part of the year is just learning how to take pictures that aren't terrible, and the second part of the year I'm going to start exploring the developing process a little more.
Do you think that you would want to set up like a developing room and like where you live, or would you not want to go that far? Because I know that they can be quite extensive.
They can, and my understanding is there's like these little portable kits now where you don't even need a room. It's like a bag that you put your hands in or something that keeps the film dark.
Yeah, there
It
was.
looks
Go ahead.
it looks simple enough to do. It's just there's so many steps, and I think there's a lot of ways it can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. But it's like not insurmountable. So I do want to try it at some point.
Yeah, I remember I interviewed a photographer a while back for the show, and it opened my eyes to this like mobile development process, and I didn't realize that they actually had them um, like miniaturized to this point. I
Hmm.
didn't realize that they were actually so small. So like now you don't really need like a whole room with the light set up. Like you could actually just do it in this little box.
Yeah, very convenient. I think like your hands are just in this bag, and you're like you have to like feel how to put the film on a reel or something. I don't know. It looks a little complicated. I wouldn't want to just ruin an entire roll, but I might have to. It's when I'm exploring this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the price you pay with film. It's just it's so extremely
Yeah.
delicate that the hope is that you don't ruin it. Like I remember one of the first times I took out a film camera, I had made the mistake of opening the back because like there was just something wrong with the mechanism. It just wasn't feeding right, and it only hit me like a minute later after I closed it. I was like, oh my god, I had just completely wiped like an entire section of that film and all the photos that were taken there. I was like, oh well, okay, well, easy come, easy go,
Yep.
lesson learned.
Yep, I have done exactly that too. I will say though, like there's a surprising amount of developing labs around me, and they all seem to be doing pretty well. Like the main one I go to, they're always busy. Like I've had to wait in line. So
Hmm.
like film is far from dead. It seems like it's really actually like having some kind of renaissance or just blowing up in popularity.
Yeah, I figured it has something to do with the fact that um, now taking photos with your camera has become so ubiquitous, just such a part of daily life, that
Hmm.
people want something different, something that's more permanent, something that's more finicky, less reliable, but it's more real in that regard. Like you're actually putting in the work yourself to develop it, instead of like just being detached
Exactly.
completely from the process and letting your phone like do all the touch ups and everything like that. I figure that's
Hmm.
probably part of it.
This
And
one I could have. The
sorry, go ahead.
colors were a little muted. The colors were a little muted on that one, and I do very, very little editing. Sometimes I will bring out the colors just a touch. That's pretty much like the extent of the editing that I'll do. I don't know. I guess I'm just sort of a purist. I like to just see. Not that it's cheating to edit. I don't really think that, but I just like to see the actual original image that I was left with.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not cheating. I mean, at the end of the day, you're
No.
producing a work of art, and whatever touch ups
Yeah.
like you make, it's all part of the process.
Yeah.
And so what's your current setup? What kind of a camera are you using at the moment?
So I'm using just a basic point and shoot. It's an Olympus XA from like Olympus XA rangefinder. I think it's from like 1982 or something. Yeah, that one. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much the exact model that I have. It's really convenient. One thing I really liked about the disposable cameras was just how they slip right into a pocket, and
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much what you've got here. It does have like it has a focusing feature, but it's like pretty much like one of the smallest cameras on the market. I barely even feel it, and I really just like being able to point and shoot and click without having to mess with a lens and some heavy thing in a bag.
Fair enough. And I'm guessing they don't have any like attachable lenses. Like what you see is what you get with it.
Right. I may upgrade at some point to a camera with a lens, but I just really like the convenience of this. If something interesting is happening in front of you, you can just like whip it out and take a picture in like 2 seconds.
Oh, fair enough. My the film camera that I worked with was an Olympus. I don't remember which
Mm-hmm.
exact model it was. But it was basically like something simple, like yeah, like this basically. Um,
Hmm.
I think I just have the one lens for it, but I was really impressed at how like advanced the tech was, because I thought that I would need to have um like an understanding of like f-stop numbers, shutter speed, and all that, like holding it in my head like constantly, and just having to like do the math and figure out like how to make sure that the image wasn't overexposed. But inside the rangefinder, or I guess the viewport, there was like a little meter at the bottom that
Yeah,
would tell me based on the exposure, like it would actually change and move. And I was like, whoa, I mean, I don't know like what kind of work would have to go into setting that up, but I didn't realize that it like had that advanced feature. I was like, oh, this is the same way like a digital camera would have that exact
exactly.
same
Yeah,
feedback.
yeah, mine has an internal light meter too. And at first I was like, as I've said, I'm an amateur at this. I'm figuring it out. I was really worried about all that stuff, but eventually I stick with the same settings every time, and my pictures always look acceptable to me. Like I'm not worrying about the f-stop. I just leave it at f16 all the time, and just don't take pictures when it's too dark and everything seems to turn out fine.
Yeah, when I was learning the process, I thought like I would have to like just have this constantly in my head and do all this math and whatnot. But eventually, it just came as
Yeah.
like a just a feeling. I was like, oh well, like I
Hmm.
know that based on like the movement that's happening right in front of me, like I gotta adjust the shutter speed so that it doesn't just like blur. Or if I do want it to blur, then I
Hmm.
can. Um, but then it just like it became intuitive over time. It was actually a lot easier, and I didn't realize that uh, it just yeah it becomes like second nature eventually once you just keep doing it enough.
Right.
Do you think that you would ever move on to the digital, or right now you're happy with sticking with film?
I do have a digital camera. A few pictures on my account are from it. I feel like I'm not quite as good at digital, but I've gotten some good shots. Like that spider, scroll up right there. That was taken with my digital camera, and I love that shot. Um, I think he literally was like just passed out asleep. Um, so yeah, it like digital obviously can create some wonderful close-up effects, but I just feel like I need more practice with the digital, and I'm working on mastering film first, which could take quite a while. But I do like to bring out the digital, just do some nature photography every so often.
Yeah, it's good when you need to like to take a shot at multiple exposures
Yep, yep.
and in multiple frames, and also especially like with the focusing, um, just the variety of lenses that you have access to digitally, it makes it
Hmm.
all the much easier. But it becomes also like the other problem that you get into is that you'll eventually start hoarding lenses, which is,
Yeah.
from what I've heard from other photographers, like a common problem. So you got to make sure to cut yourself off one point. Or unless you want to have an expensive collection, then by all means.
But yeah, like you were saying, like film does get expensive, so I like to have this digital on hand just to shake things up now and then. And it's good to play with a whole tool set.
Yeah, right on.
Let's see.
And
Looking at my account, looking for other digital pictures I've taken. What were you gonna say?
did you have any like training going into it? Have you ever taken a class, or is it just something that you like picked up and learned on your own?
I have not. Maybe in high school I may have taken a photography class, but no, it's largely just something that I've picked up on my own. People told me that I take good pictures, so I figured I should, just get some more practice at it. I did like I would post pictures on Instagram over the years. But it was like last August that I decided to actually buy a digital or a film camera and um really make it into a regular habit.
Is there anything like
I
on
do think
your
I
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I do think like I have been slowly improving over time. Um I can see my pictures getting like my first few rolls were just absolutely terrible, and then I'm finding more and more that I'm happy with like the majority of my pictures rather than just one or two of them. But it's still a learning process. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there was anything that you because from what you mentioned, it's a matter of like you're just driving around, going to a new neighborhood, and seeing what's there.
Yep.
But in terms of intentionally planning like some certain shots or ideas that you have in the future for the photos that you kind of take, is there anything that you have on the horizon for that?
Yeah, like I guess some things I just take pictures of because they look nice. Like this one at the top with everyone fishing. That was just a nice shot. But generally speaking, I'm trying to take pictures of Areas that people would normally overlook. I like to do a lot of parking lot pictures. I'm very interested in the whole liminal spaces subculture that's wildly popular right now. Um, I think there's something just really interesting about how those bland, like unremarkable spaces are so fascinating to so many people that it's turned into like this huge subculture of its own. Like I've spent so much time on the Reddit liminal spaces subreddit. Like there's you could spend hours there. I think it's yeah, liminal spaces. There's like a whole bunch of them. I think that's the main one.
Yeah, there's something unsettling about them, but I mean, I guess that's the trademark. That's the idea behind it. Um,
Yeah, it's something about like seeing these normal like spaces but like taken out of context. Like spaces that people would they typically have a lot of people moving through them. And when nobody is in the space, like it contextually feels very different. Like it's interesting because a lot of people have like tried to analyze this. Like what is this particular feeling that's the same across all of these varied images? And nobody seems exactly sure how to pin it down. Like there's a lot of different theories. It's like this weird mixture of nostalgia and like calmness, also eeriness though.
yeah, I feel
And
like part of it. Sorry, go ahead.
it's something that like people have just sort of stumbled into accidentally. Like liminal spaces is a very like recent movement. Like at least, in terms of like having a label and people trying to capture that aesthetic.
Yeah, I figure part of it is like the absence of life in a moment where it would otherwise uh, be having it. So like malls are typically a great like example of it, where usually you'd have like a ton of people walking through the space, but and you can see by like the architecture or like just some of the furniture there that the space is built for life, but when it's just fully empty and devoid of anything, it just kind of creates this weird disconnect between like your expectation of the space and where it exists in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like, yeah, that's a classic. There's like an element of abandonment too, because
Hmm.
malls are kind of they're not totally dead, but they're sort of dying. So there's like a mixture of nostalgia too in seeing like spaces that are kind of like I don't know, like fading in use or something. Like there's various uh it's like there's various concepts overlapping in these spaces. It's just it's really interesting to try and analyze and try and get right. I had someone DM me and say that some of my pictures really capture the feeling of desolation. I don't know that I was totally intentionally trying to do that, but I guess it does make sense. Because I do like taking pictures of totally abandoned, overlooked, empty areas.
Yeah, there's something really cool about um, being in a space like that, but it's also just very like just unnerving. Like I mean, the most famous I think like uh, culturally relevant example of like liminal spaces is this mythology around uh, the back rooms, which I'm guessing you're familiar with.
Yes, that's kind of a fascinating thing on its own too. Um, it's like this is like the ultimate example of amateur art because I don't know all the lore, but I think it's like they traced the picture back, and it was originally just like a furniture store in Wisconsin
Hmm.
that was renovating or something, and they like send this guy upstairs to take a picture. He's not trying to start a cultural movement or something. Like he's just taking a picture of the renovation in his furniture shop. But something about this image is just so fascinating that like there's a YouTube series and they're making a movie about it. Like that's like every professional photographer's dream, to take a picture good enough that it like starts this movement and aesthetic. So it's just very interesting to me like how that happened.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few of them. The short films that you're talking about here. Let's see if I can find it. It's no, it's a great, like, interesting series where
Mhm.
they've managed to build all this mythology around it, and I'd imagine most of the work around it is like CGI'd or like post edited, obviously. But I love how it has a like a found footage feel to it, where
Yeah, like they've built like all this lore now. Like I guess I haven't watched too much of this series, but like there's like there's the I don't know, there's some kind of whole like backstory with it now. With like various characters and monsters.
yeah, and it's very unsettling in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. Like my best friend and I, we picked up. There's a backrooms game that, well, there's multiple games of these, but we bought one and we played it, and lasted like all of maybe 30 minutes or like 45 minutes before I was like, okay, I've had enough. This is too unsettling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the weird thing was, and I've been playing video games ever since like I was very young, but this was like one of the only games where like I walked out of my room out just to go have a smoke outside, and I actually felt like palpable relief of being
Mhm.
somewhere with an open sky and not being like sequestered to like this kind of space, even though I know I'm just looking at a screen, it's not real. But it I still came away from this feeling of like, wow, that was a rather uncomfortable experience. I think I'd like to see some open roads for a moment.
Right, right. Like it's so claustrophobic and and artificial. Like nothing about this feels comforting in any way.
Yeah, no,
Or
quite the
you know,
opposite.
it's like both familiar and also just but familiar in like this really eerie way. Like I don't know if there's like some evolutionary like fear that they're tapping into here or what,
Yeah, kind of
but
like
it's really
of the uncanny valley, except with your
yeah, that's what
surroundings,
I was
maybe.
that's the term I was exactly. And yeah, it's like this is very inspiring as an amateur photographer because you just never know. Like you could take any random picture like this and it could just entrance people. Totally accidentally. Like this guy did he was not planning to start the Backrooms lore when he took this. So it's just very but he was making art, you know? Like he had to decide where to stand, exactly how to frame that. He was making art but not intentionally.
Yeah, it looks like we can actually look up the building. Um,
Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to Wisconsin next weekend. Maybe I should like drive past this place.
let's see here. Yeah, it looks like it was up here. I would assume on the second level
Ah,
here.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's at 811 Oregon Street. And there was actually quite a few when I tried to put Street View down. There's quite a few views inside, so maybe someone's even had
Oh.
a chance to go in. Let me see if we can.
It's like
Oh,
a so
really?
it's like a tourist location now.
That's strange that it doesn't. All the previews are just the street view. Because usually when it's pinned like this on Google Maps, you can actually see the inside of the building. But I guess not. I
Yeah,
mean, if you
weird.
ask nice, I'm sure they'll let you in. Uh,
Huh.
Strange. And yeah, so it looks like it was taken before renovation, and then the image was published somehow on 4chan in 2011, whether by the original artist or otherwise. Um, and then in 2019, it was included in the first post that introduced the myth of the backrooms.
Hmm.
And oh, it actually wasn't until last year that the photograph's true origin was conclusively identified. I wonder who. Oh, we can look this up.
Yeah, like I think it's unclear who posted it on 4chan. Like if somebody was just like browsing this furniture store's website for some reason, or if it's like the actual guy who took the picture.
Yeah,
That
I
would
hope.
be extremely well planned, though, if he did.
I mean, that's like a 14-year plan. that's that's
Yeah,
a that's a
a
hell of a
master
payoff.
plan.
Yeah. Huh.
He deserves some kind of award, though. Like, they're making an A24 movie out of this guy's picture.
Yeah, it looks like it can't, or at least the AI model that I'm using, it doesn't. It's not able to recognize
Hmm.
who is the original creator. Um, Maybe it was just like one of these things done in passing, as you said. You know, they're just getting photos like for insurance or something, and
Right.
somehow that photo just stayed on that USB or what have you. Um, oh yeah, it says here that there's no definitive information available. Huh.
Wow. So it's just like there's layers of mystery here. I love it.
Yeah, I figure it was like just like one of those things that just it eventually gets into the hands of someone that like has an idea with it. So you know, maybe
Hmm.
like pass down like memory cards from like an estate sale or something, and eventually someone just stumbles upon the photo and makes something of it. But it is a fascinating space because there's, as you said, there's this kind of resurgence with this idea of liminal spaces, um, especially with like malls as they continue to die. Like I've seen so many photos of uh, empty malls in America where
Yeah.
you can clearly see there was a lot of like planning in terms of making these stand the test of time, but for one reason
Hmm.
or another, I guess because of Amazon in part,
Yeah.
they eventually just were abandoned. Because for a moment that was like not the great American pastime, but like a part of growing up in America is you hang out with your friends at the mall because there was just always something to do there.
Yeah, exactly. Um, every town had one.
I'm surprised they're still standing though. I figured they would have been like demolished and turned into like some kind of new development, but maybe there isn't the market for it.
Probably not, because, like, it can't be cheap, that property. You'd have to have a really good plan for it.
Yeah, I can't say I know of any that are even in my area. Like, some malls have like gotten more attention than others, sure, but I
Mhm.
can't think of one that has like been truly abandoned. I feel like you'd have to go closer in the outskirts of the city to maybe find some of these spaces.
Man, I'm remembering now, like, a long time ago, 10 years ago or something, like, I found a mall. I don't know if it was under construction or if it was just totally closed, and abandoned, but somehow the door was open. Nothing was open in it. Um, there was a lot of, like, the stores seemed to be, like, closed down permanently, but they still had a mall music going. And it's like the eeriest thing I've ever seen in my life. This was like before I even knew about liminal spaces. I really wish I had taken a video and posted it because it would have been a mega viral hit, but sadly I did not.
The musical's still playing. That's That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
like the mall music. It was seriously like it was like being in a video game. I did not stay long.
Hmm. I wonder if that's just like for the security people that are paid to overlook it and make sure like there's no looters or
Probably,
anything.
yeah, that would make sense.
Interesting. So, is this like a direction that you would want to lean into and explore and see if there's any kind of like more of these spaces near where you're at? Like, actually see about like some abandoned malls or what have you?
Well, I don't seek out abandoned places specifically, but like I said, I'm interested. Some of these are just like street shots that look interesting, but like, yeah, this one right up there, with that parking lot. I like just taking pictures of scenes that people would pass by without giving like a second glance to or without even thinking about, and I think that is like it's related to the concept of liminality. Um I mean, America's full full of these suburban spaces that you just sort of like you drift through and you don't stop and look at your surroundings too much. You're always on a mission, just in and out, going to buy something. So something I don't know, I something appeals to me about stopping and really looking at your environment, whereas most people wouldn't.
What do you think about it, about the mundane that draws you into it?
Man, I don't know. I haven't analyzed it too deeply. It's just something that has always really appealed to me. I like there's a sense of stillness, I guess. Um, yeah, like basically everything we were talking about liminality factors into this. Like seeing something out of context or like having to find a context for it. This is a pretty good one, I think. I like the dark lines contrasting against this white parking lot. It's just an interesting image.
Yeah, and hey, I mean, you couldn't have picked a better place to live. If America's got anything, it's
Yeah,
wide,
yeah,
expansive parking lots.
yeah.
Yeah, or even something like this. Like,
This is
what?
yeah, this is an example of something that people would probably just walk by without thinking about, but it's an interesting image when you really stop and study it. Like, what's the story here? Why is there a mattress on a shopping cart? It looks like abandoned.
Yeah, like why was it just left here? Why isn't it at its
Hmm.
destination? What compelled someone to first take the mattress and then push it all the way here and then to leave it? It's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and you're checking you're just like picking up items and then you notice that something that like completely just shouldn't be there, like a slab of meat and like the cereal aisle is there. And whenever I see that,
Right.
I'm like, oh, like there was a decision that was made here. I don't know what the outcome was, but
Yeah.
a decision was made. Yeah, no, it makes for an interesting medium to play with because
Hmm.
there's no limit to it. Just about anything can be a liminal space if you're just given, the right timing and the right setting. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be
Exactly.
like a space with a lot of architecture. You could just be like in an open field like this, or on a walk and not see anything for a while, and that'll give you the same feeling.
Right. And some people have like these I don't know, they have all these strict rules like, oh, it can't be in nature, or there can't be any there can't be any people in the picture at all. But I don't know. I think I'm not that strict about it. I think any scene can create this feeling. Just depending on what angle you're looking you're looking at it from. This was a really cool example of a an accidental light leak that just took this picture to the next level.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's one of the greatest things about film when you get one of these shots. It's totally unexpected, and it adds to the character of the actual the final piece.
Hmm.
Let me see if I
Yeah, this
can.
this looks really vintage. I mean, this looks like it could have been taken in 1995, but nope, it's just my friend coming out of his house.
Yeah, and actually, I managed to find uh, one of the pieces that I did a while back in the same kind of frame with the
Yeah.
exposure. I don't know at what point it happened, but it really like I love how it contrasts between like the dark and moodiness of like the oncoming like rainstorm or what have you, and then just this giant pillar of light highlighting this
Yeah, it's
section in
awesome.
particular.
And it like almost perfectly divides the picture in half.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, that's a great medium. What would you say is like the one of the more important things that you've learned so far, like working with film, or like some of the big like mistakes that you've made that you've had to learn from?
Ah, boy, that's a good question. I have to think about that because I'm trying to think of some of the early pictures I took that just did not turn out very well. I mean, this is obviously a very basic one, but you have to be very deliberate and I mean, film is so easy to like jostle in your hands and the picture will end up blurry. Like you have to be very deliberate in how you're holding the camera. Like there's people who recommend that you like plant your feet a certain way and you breathe out so that you're completely motionless. So that's kind of an interesting skill I've had to learn. Like when something's happening really quickly, like I liked this shot. I liked how these two vehicles were like collected together at the side like that. And I had to take it really, really quickly. So I had to be very careful about like, not jostling the camera, like being both fast in my movement, but also really still when I'm actually pressing the button. Like it's hard to get right because, otherwise it could just be totally blurred. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I guess it's sort of like a hand-eye coordination thing. You have to learn to be very quick, and also to find that exact split second when you can't move at all.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than because film does offer like that quality of the mistakes being beautiful on occasion, but there are times when like a
True.
photo will just look like absolute like garbage because you're like, man, this is not at all the composition that I wanted. um
Yeah.
I guess the shutter speed was too low, and there's just too much movement, and it just messes up the whole piece. But having these like
But
little
it,
like
it, it
smears, it still comes away with like a good shot.
yeah, it's also forgiving too, because if you do make a mistake like that, it can still turn out to be an interesting image. Um, but
Yeah.
but if you're deliberately trying to capture a composition like this, you have to be very careful in your movements.
Yeah, sometimes the
And I
motion
like
does work out.
mhm.
But sorry, you were gonna say?
Oh, just that I like the colors. That's another reason I took this. I like the way that orange pops on the side.
Yeah, against the tall grass here, which does give it a bit of color,
Mhm.
but yeah, nothing like this. Speaking of movement, it actually reminds me of a shot that I took a while back where I was doing long exposure work for the first time, and I didn't realize that I needed a tripod to get like the best kind of focus going for it, and
Yeah.
my hand had moved, I guess, like in the shape of a five accidentally, and so every single light in this shot ended up like looking exactly the same. So like yet
Yeah,
again, one
that's
of
a
those
really
examples.
that is super cool. Where was this taken in Toronto?
Yeah, yeah, in Toronto, I've done most of my
Mhm.
work there.
Mhm.
I was actually I had all these like canisters of film that I had taken this one summer, just absolutely full up, and I saw the prices of like how much it would cost to develop it, and I was just like, man, I don't have a summer job, and this is way more than I can afford. But
Yeah.
luckily, I was actually taking a trip to see some family in Russia a while after that, and my mom reminded me that like film processing there was still like much cheaper than it is in the West, and
Hmm.
this is like a decade ago or so, and it cost me like a fraction of the cost that it would over here, and so like I got like most of it developed there. But this would have been on the flatbed scanner that I used um, to actually like get the shot. So there's still like some imperfections around it. It's probably not as high res as you can see. Like I think there's a little hair here and some other stuff. Um, but yeah, yeah, it was interesting. I haven't done like long exposure with film since because now I realize I need a tripod for that. Um,
Yeah.
but so it still
Well,
came out pretty decent.
not necessarily. You can just set it on anything you have available. I mean,
Oh,
if there's
true.
like a box around you, just set it on that. But yeah, this shot turned out really very interesting, I think, that one that you showed.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to ask if you had any plans to work with double exposure photography because I had made the mistake of using a film reel twice by accident, so totally not intentional, and it made for some interesting combinations because I didn't realize the film had already been used. I didn't know what photo was going on top of which. I didn't even realize until it was developed that it would be double exposed. But is that something that you would want to do? Because I didn't even know that like film could do this. I thought that like, oh, that's it. Like you one and done. You know expose it to the light. That's it. And there's no way to like put an image on top of that. But turns out you actually can.
Yeah, it's definitely another thing that I've done accidentally. I I don't know. I probably will plan to do a role that way at some point. I've definitely created some interesting effects without meaning to, but on the other hand, it's such a tricky thing to get right, and it's so expensive. I don't know if I would want to ruin an entire role without knowing exactly what I'm doing, but I suppose at some point I could set aside a couple roles and just go for it, see what happens. I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
feel like you have to coordinate it so carefully in order to like get an intentional shot like that, like and to remember like where the vegetation was and where the boat was. I don't even know how I've seen some people do incredible double exposures and like I have no idea like how much planning they must have done to get it exact.
yeah, no, I'd imagine it takes quite a bit of coordination because then you also have to remember
Mhm.
like which segment of the film has which shot, and you have to like keep track of that. And I have no idea how someone could actually like go about um, making it work. But I was lucky enough to have a couple of these accidents like this one here on the left. It was for a wedding that I'd gone to, and it
Hmm.
just so happened that I had taken some photos of flowers that just ended up layering on top of one another perfectly. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't have made this shot intentionally if I had tried.
it looks gorgeous. It does. What is happening on the side there
Oh well, so
on the
this
right?
photo's it's rotated. Let me see if I can. Actually, I think I have to rotate it in Windows. This would have been a at City Hall in Toronto. There's a skating rink that they have set up. Let me see if I can just reopen. Oh, bear with me for a second.
Sure.
There we go. So this is the uh, at City Hall we have a skating rink, but when obviously like it's in the summer, can't have ice. So they have it as like
Hmm.
a pool instead. There's like some ducks that'll swim there on occasion. And I just been in the area and took a shot because I just like the way that the reflections looked, and there wasn't really any specific forms in the photo, but I like the composition of it.
Yeah, it's lovely. Like I didn't know what it was. I thought it might be some like mineral or something like quartz. It's very cool looking.
Yeah. No, I loved it. I think that the experience of doing film that one summer, it's as you said in the beginning of the interview here, it you learn a lot about patience,
Hmm.
because you're ultimately you're forced to, you're whether you like it
Hmm.
or not, uh, you're forced to be patient with the shots and to um, learn from the mistakes, or risk ruining film and having to buy it again. There's something about
Yeah.
those constraints that um, I really enjoyed, because it makes the rules like plain and clear to you, not necessarily like in terms
Yeah.
of what you can and can't capture, but the ways in which you go about it. There's a clear uh, like input and output. Like this is what you're gonna try to get out of the photo, and if you like make any of these mistakes, this is what the output is gonna come to.
Yep. And another constraint is uh I kind of liked this shot. Side note here, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it could have been slightly better. Like there's too much white space in the upper left, but the rain just looked so perfect. I just had to get it. That that's what I was about to say. Like another constraint is that you you can't have any hesitation. Um, if something interesting is happening in front of you, you have like 1 second to like get the shot, because if you hesitate another second, then you have to, rewind the camera, and
Hmm.
whatever you're trying to take a picture of will be gone by that point. Unlike a phone, you can just point it and like keep clicking. So there's like you have to learn to like just trust your gut, um, and to instinctually take a shot instead of waiting like an extra second.
Yeah, in a way it forces you to be present in the moment, not just
Yep.
as like an outsider observer, but as someone who is actively trying to capture like a single frame. Um,
Yep.
because you like yeah, like you said, you got to rewind it. There's a whole process to it, um, and it forces you to kind of to participate in that process. Like you have to really consider like if there's especially if there's people, like the angling of the shot, the light and the shadows, and all that. Um, yeah, it keeps you grounded in a way. But in terms of
It
this
does. It
photo,
like
yeah.
it wakes you up to your environment.
Hmm.
But go ahead.
Yeah, no, this photo, I think that the white space is like perfectly fine. I think it balances out really well with the rest of the shot here, and the raindrops. I do really like how they have um, just by their motion they become these like little lines uh,
Hmm.
that drop down. It just makes it look artificial in kind of way. Like it kind of reminds me of like those sparks that come off of the welders.
Yeah, yeah.
So how long would you say you've been doing this for?
So I bought the film camera I think last August. But as I said, like I I used to do a lot of I used to use disposable cameras a lot, and I think I have hundreds of photos like on old CDs from Walgreens that I
Hmm.
still have not sorted through. There's a few of them that I have posted on this account. But I really need to dedicate some time to go through all of those. This was another, if you scroll up for a moment, that was another, like, as I said in the post, like an accidental light leak. Well, not this one. This one was accidental too, but the
Oh, the
one
film,
below
the
it with
movie
the movie
theater.
theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still comes out very well. Like
Hmm.
especially this one. This probably my favorite one of the three. Because it's so in your face. It's like
Yeah.
unapologetic about it. I wonder if in the development process for film, if there's any way to like use certain chemicals to bring certain colors out. Because I know that there are some like purists regarding using like only a certain type of film for certain types of composition, just because of how they're able to get uh, certain wavelengths or colors to pop. Have you
Yeah,
done any looking into that at all?
there's so many layers to it. Like I said, I think probably in August I'm going to purchase a portable developing kit and just start experimenting with that. I've seen people getting so experimental on here. Some I don't remember the account, but somebody was like boiling their film in white wine or something to create like the this bubble appearance on it somehow.
Yeah, I
Or
actually
search like film white wine. I think it was a popular post.
Yeah, I do. I remember the exact post that you're talking about when I had stumbled upon it. Um,
Like that would not have crossed my mind, but I guess there's just no limit to what you can do.
I don't know how you would even come about um, having that effect. I don't like how do you even come up with the idea of like not just like submerging it in white water, like boiling it, like
Try searching by latest. This website's search is so bad, but
uh,
usually the oh, it's because WWINE.
oh, is that why? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we
Yeah.
go. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the artist that put it up.
Yeah, she's really good. You should interview her.
I think we have. Let me make sure I'm not doxing DMs here, but I think we have actually tried.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have tried to reach out to her. We there's so many artists that we reach out to that like it just I wouldn't be surprised if most of it goes into the spam folder. But yeah, no, certainly
Mm,
she would make for a great interview because like how do you even come up with that idea, and do you boil it like once the film like after it's developed or like before, or like for how
yeah.
long does it change in like the duration, and is it the acidity of the wine that gives it this kind of not overexposed but this kind of like burnt or like microwave look to it?
Right. Like I assume the wine in particular is doing something chemically as opposed to just any old liquid. Um yeah, like she's invented like her own genre here.
Yeah, and like what's better to work with? Can I just get like shitty, you know, soccer mom box wine, or like do I have to get like a solid like Chardonnay
Right.
or
Like
something?
vintage, right.
Yeah, that's a very cool technique. I didn't realize that that you could even do that. I wonder how it came
Yeah.
about because like I know in some of these like techniques that artists come about, it happens like by happenstance. But I have a hard time believing that she was like boiling white wine and just happened to be holding like a canister of film and then just dropped it
Yeah,
by
I
accident.
it probably is some known process, but it's not one that I had ever encountered before. Um
Yeah, and even in these shots here, like when it ruins the like the composition or whatever the intention was, like it looks like it was like some kind of a building of it.
mhm.
It even comes out like even as a piece of abstract art, it looks amazing. Yeah, and once again, there's no end to how much how much of a landscape there is in terms of like the different types of ways that you can play with this medium. I mean, like I said, like
Yeah.
there's purists that will only use like certain types of film, whether it's Kodak, um, or I don't know, does Fujifilm? I'm sure they make like their own rolls.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
The two that I mostly use are Cinestill and Portra. The colors are just absolutely beautiful on them. I don't know this for sure, but I think they're relatively new, at least some of the lines they're making. Like film is kind of having a resurgence now. They're experimenting with all these different chemical compositions.
What is it
That
about
film,
Cinestill
yeah,
that made you want to work with that?
it's when I first tried it, like I had been trying a lot of like Kodak and Fuji, but once I went to Cinestill, like it's like I was unable to take a bad picture with it. Like it just has such a unique look. It gives kind of uh, this sort of like rusty color, like this real gritty, rusty, like almost like a monochrome in some shots. That it's just is visually striking every single time. Um,
Yeah, it looks like it picks up on the light a lot easier, or
it
a lot
does,
more
and it always
effectively.
has like this. It has these reddish halos on every single light, which is always a cool effect, no matter how many times I see it. Like so many of the pictures I've taken have that red outline on whatever the subject is, and it's just visually very striking. Let's see if we can find a good one.
No, there's got to be a night shot
Yeah,
somewhere.
like that was.
Which one?
Let's see. Oh, this house. This is scroll down once more. That one right there. Um, there isn't the reddish effect here, but Cinestill also just does very good lighting effects. Like the light just really pops in ways that I have not encountered with other films. Like it's like is on the left, like those white houses, they're just like jumping off the frame almost.
Yeah, it plays with contrast in a way that's like it's kind of deceptive because like you have the whites popping really well, but then like the color of the tree, it's
Hmm.
it kind of blends into the like the background. It doesn't really stand out. Like it's supposed to be darker, but it has like you can see it has a like a reddish hue to it to an extent.
Yep. Yeah, there's always this very slight reddish hue.
So
And
you
I
said
like the little patch of red in that backpack in the very corner
mhm.
left. This is another instance where I almost hesitated too long and she would have been out of the shot, but I got it at just the right time to where it kind of pops in that little dark patch.
Yeah. And so you said it was Cinestill and what was the other one?
Portra 400 or 800. Yeah, search Portra 800 because those colors are just gorgeous. Really good for like outdoor shots and blues, reds.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of muted. But like the colors aren't too vibrant, but they have this like kind of like soft like pastelish hue to them.
Right. And sometimes like my pictures seem too muted when I'm using it. Other times like I'm just amazed at the way the colors pop. So like it's still a skill that I'm mastering, like learning how to take more control over that and get the colors to look how I want. Um but I went to a car show, a classic car show, and I was just blown away by like how Portra showed the colors. It would be like at the very top of my feed at this point. Let's see.
Oh, this one here.
Like yeah, yeah. Like I mean, yeah. Look at those colors. It's just incredible.
Yeah, the purple especially, and even the green, it still pops against the rest of the other greens that you have there.
Hmm.
Right on. This is a cool show. I'm guessing it's just like a collector's.
Yeah, classic car collectors show. They do it apparently like every other weekend, so I will have to go back there, keep practicing. But
Oh,
this
right
was
on.
like the first roll of Portra I shot where I was just like astonished at the results I got, and I saw like I really need to start using this film more frequently.
There any others that like you have your eyes on at the moment, or you're just sticking with these two for now?
I'm sticking with him for now. I also tried Harmon, which that's like that gives you really experimental results. Um, Harmon Phoenix.
Oh yeah, pops the whites really well.
Hmm.
And so you said it takes about 2 weeks of a turnaround time for when you're processing this film. Why does it like take so long? Shouldn't it just be like a couple of days, or like do
Well,
you
I
have it
mean,
done specifically?
partly it's because I wait, and I'll take in like two or three rolls at once. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the lab that I've been using is really fast. They get it back to me in a day or two, but I go to them like every other week, and by that time, um, I've forgotten a lot of the pictures that I've taken, and so it's just really fun to get the whole package back and be like, oh yeah, I remember that now.
Gotcha, gotcha. Because I know that some photographers they'll get I forget what the name of it is, but it'll essentially be like a printout of all the different shots that you have, and then you can choose from that little printout like which ones you actually want developed, or do you just like get the whole reel done at that point?
I just get the whole reel done because there's no better way to learn than seeing seeing which shots were good and which were disasters.
Fair enough. And as it stands right now, besides Twitter, are you posting this anywhere? Because I know that like I don't know how like extensive the Flickr community is, but I know that that's like a great place for people to just like put shots up. Just yet another platform.
I might have to look at Flickr. Like I did post on Instagram for a few years. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really know like how to use Instagram. I just don't get it. Like
What do you mean?
everybody's using. I don't know. I guess I just don't use it that frequently, and everybody seems to be using Reels now, and I couldn't. I just wasn't seeming to get many views on my pictures, so Twitter I got a lot more views. I did post some on Reddit, but Reddit is just you don't get followers on Reddit.
No, no.
You might get like one post that does well, but Twitter just seemed like the best option. But yeah, Flickr is coming back. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, Flickr's a great spot.
So,
They just have an upload limit. That's the only issue.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's like maybe like a couple of gigs worth of photos that you can upload, or I think like they have it on like the amount of photos that you can upload. But I guess you could just have like
Mm-hmm.
rotating shots constantly. I don't know to what extent like they have a community there or anything. I'm sure they've kind of developed it since I last used it.
Hmm.
But yeah, Instagram is also certainly great. The Reels, yeah, that seems to be like the name of the game when it comes to Instagram. But I do know there's this one natural like wildlife photographer who I don't know if he got fed up with the algorithm or what, but he decided to essentially take his photos that he has of like all these like birds and these different animals, and he made these like shitty looking edits with like fast paced like drum and bass music to make it like look all epic and whatnot, when in reality like the photo's just of a regular bird. And that's been getting him a lot of views, and people are like, man, like you're just like making like slop for photography. It's just like low tier
Yeah,
content. And he's like, well, look, like
it's a little
this gets attention to it.
it's a little depressing because you do want your original image to be appreciated.
Hmm.
You don't wanna have to, like, do all these edits and turn it into some completely different thing to get the engagement that you need. That's why I was just really impressed when all of these photo Twitter accounts started showing up in my feed, and I realized, like, how big this subculture is getting.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
Mhm,
And I totally understand what you mean, because like when I initially started doing social media for Outsider Supply, it took me a while to curate the feed so that I didn't have any like politics, no like global events, no like financial
mhm.
news, like none of that. I needed to scrub it from the feed completely, which took quite a bit of work. But then once I started getting into art Twitter, um, now our feed is just littered with like nonstop artists. There's just like a never ending uh
Yeah,
selection of them. I mean, like,
yeah, it's like a whole world.
yeah, like most of these people here, like we follow, but if we just keep going far enough, we're gonna start finding like a ton of people that we've
Mhm.
never seen before. Like I think, yeah, like this guy. I've never seen him before, never seen his work. Um, looks like a very interesting piece.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I go down, then I find someone else, and it seems like it never ends.
What do you think of, AI art? I haven't explored that realm too much. I'm not opposed to it. I see some people doing really astonishing things with it, like that Mac Bacchanay or however his name is
Oh
said.
yeah, Mac Back and I is great. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he is. Like, that takes like major creativity what he's doing.
Yeah, I love his my favorite like collections or like pieces of his would be the ones where like these like he has like these offices that he'll build
Yeah.
um that always have like
Like
some
he
kind
has
of like
this
a
vision, you
Turkish.
know. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, they have like some like that kind of Turkish carpet, like maybe like a 60s 70s vibe to it. Maybe it has like a little bit of grain to it. Um and like you said, yeah, he clearly has a vision. I mean, even like for his like this is the original shot I think of the LA Olympics, and then he took that and ran with it and created something completely different, which
Yeah.
looks
I tried doing
otherworldly.
something I tried doing something similar, like taking some of my shots and just putting them in Midjourney and trying to trying to add some like artificial sci-fi elements to them. I wasn't really impressed with the results, but it's an interesting concept for sure. Um,
Yeah, I don't know how it would work with like uploading photography and having it edited, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of like the I don't even know if the company even needs a stance on AI art, but just as my own personal
yeah.
opinion, like it's uh it's a tool like any other.
Mhm.
Um, people are free to use it or not, but whether they, regardless of their feelings, AI art is here to stay. So
It is.
um, there's nothing that you can really do to scale it back or change it. And I think any attempts that are made to slow it down are kind of fruitless in that respect, because like it's going to happen regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
um, in terms of like major studios like Disney and the controversy around firing animators and whatnot for the sake of having AI instead. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just yet another tool that enables creators, and that even if those people are laid off, I think that there's still quite a hunger that people have for unique and independent media, that you'll be able to find an audience just about anywhere. Um, so long as what you're making is worth seeing. So this idea that it's like taking jobs away from people, yeah, it is, but I think it's in the same way that the car took the jobs away from the carriage drivers when
True.
we used to ride
Like it's
horses.
just it's unfortunate, but it is inevitable. Like you
Exactly.
said, it's here to stay. And on the other side of the coin though, like I also think that's why photography is here to stay too, and why it's getting so popular again, because people still want a record of reality, you know? Like AI is making the world so weird, but there's still like a real physical 3D world out there, and I think having like a record of it in plain photographs is important on some level.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
I think that like we mentioned this at the beginning of the interview, but this resurgence that film is having, or that all these more manual processes of whether it's writing or painting or what have you, or just doing things like more manually. I think it's a direct reaction to people just being fed up with how
Yeah,
automatic and conveyor belt like uh, life has become in some respects.
yeah,
And so, even with like the quote unquote danger or like risk of AI taking jobs away from people, I think it puts a premium on anything that's real, anything that is made by human hands. And so, there's always going to be demand for it. There's always going to be a need for some kind of manual work. I mean, like it's one thing to have like a printed sign, but uh, calligraphists still find uh, plenty of work
that's
in like
true.
old.
Yeah.
If I can find an example, I think there was a YouTube video that showed like just how steady like one's hand has to be in order to actually make like one of these signs. But these are just tutorials. There was one where it was like an oh, I guess yeah, this will show it.
Cool.
Like just how exact you have to be with the lines. Not really a lot
Yeah,
of room for error. So this is clearly someone that's mastered the skill over several years.
right. And yeah, like I'm not too worried about like the death of art with the rise of AI, because people are always going to value craftsmanship. I mean, this is always going to be really impressive,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I've heard that notion on Twitter every now and then of people saying like, oh, like the quote unquote death of art, and I don't think that they are meaning what they say. I think that what they mean when they say like the death of art is that the death of like original creators, or like having a human element to the creation of art. But like there's no way to kill that, because
No,
art as a
no.
concept is it's everything. It's in the tools that we use, and even like the cutlery that we use. Somebody had to sit down and design it and create a mold and have it
Yep.
made, and there's an art to that. um the, the pill bottles from where we get our vitamins, the computers that we use, everything has at one point or another been designed by a person. um and it's not limited to something that you would see in a gallery. Art is all around us. So saying like the death of art, to me, what that actually means in actual terms is the death of humanity, meaning that we either like become intertwined with some kind of like technological like post-human um, organism or like piece of tech, or all humans die.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's the only way I see art actually dying. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, well, look, if I can still make sandcastles and draw on a beach with like pebbles and whatnot, yeah, the art is still alive. What do you mean?
Hmm. Yeah, and like everyone is an artist on some level. Like just like we were talking about with that backrooms photograph. Like that
Hmm.
guy may not have intended to like take that photo in an artistic way, but he still made art. So yeah, like you said, it's just like a part of a part of being alive, a part of humanity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not just
Mhm.
something that is like limited to the showroom. It's not something that you need to go to school and spend years toiling over. It's something as simple as your children's drawing that you put on the fridge. Like
Mhm.
you can like judge it on the technical level. Like, is it anywhere near Michelangelo? It's like, okay, well, no, but that's not what makes it art. It's not about its
Mhm.
proximity to the masters. It's just about whether or not it's a spontaneous act of creation, and that in
Mhm.
itself is art. And so yeah, but like with AI, I know that we run the risk of uh, having it become the commonplace method of how art is generated. Because, like, recently there was a
Yeah.
study, I forget which university, but they essentially put out a study that was measuring um, brain activity as people were using these large language models like ChatGPT or what have you. And they noticed that there were certain parts of the brain that shut down when somebody would be using ChatGPT to find an answer to a question that would ordinarily be used when you're doing like research from a book or just doing some reading. And so even without that study, I know for a fact that being too reliant on it would
Yeah.
force us to abandon the skills that we actually need for critical thinking, to be creative, or what have you. So there's certainly like the danger that we run on relying on it too much. Yeah, 100%. Um,
Mhm.
but as it stands, like I'm interested to see to see what happens, because I think what it's a great thing like for artists to use. It's a great tool to like troubleshoot an idea. Like I have this idea for a
Right.
sculpture. I'd like to make it out of this material. The material is very expensive to work with. Can you at least like visualize, what this would look like potentially in like, in this kind of shape or form? And that saves you the trouble of having to buy entire blocks of marble and chipping away at them until you make a mistake and you're like, oh shit, I have to start all over again. um
Yeah.
so I think
Yeah, I
I,
did
I
have
think
like
unfortunate.
one I had like this profound experience with it once where I had some old drawings that I had made when I was like 17, and I always thought they were really good. I had entered them in an art contest, but they were just like pen and ink drawings, and I uploaded them to Midjourney, and it like it added color and it made them 3D, and it like created exactly the image that was in my head.
Hmm.
Like the exact thing that I was imagining that I wasn't fully able to bring out.
Hmm.
It was kind of like shocking to see like that happen. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, but
No, I think I think I
certainly,
think I think
yeah,
I know what you're getting at.
yeah, like certainly there are very interesting use cases for it, and it's still in its infancy, so I guess we'll just have to see where it goes.
Well, this is something that came up, conversation with an interview I did yesterday with an artist where um the the value, or part of the value that an artist has, that they imbibe into their work, it's not just like the execution of their vision, and all the work that actually goes into physically manifesting it, but it's the vision itself, and translating that into um, something that exists in the real world. Because
Hmm.
you whatever feelings like you may have about creating a piece of art, whether it's taking a photo or writing a poem. I've found it, at least like in the past, that I sometimes struggle trying to find like certain like words or approaches that I would use to get that idea out on the paper, just because sometimes that like hit of inspiration or whatever it is that pushes you to create that piece of art it's very difficult to put it into like the English language. It's very because the language is, it covers a lot of bases, but it's still like fairly limited in terms of um, putting it into a fully understandable thing that is like a one-to-one recreation of what that feeling was, what that emotion was.
Right.
And I think
Right.
AI can help kind of bridge that gap where it allows you to uh, bring that visualization, that idea, into something that is at the least like a prototype. Like, what would it look like this? Um,
Yep.
uh, and it can help kind of bridge that gap because like until we get some super duper like telepathy tech, um, it's
Yeah.
it's still gonna be really really hard to like take an idea which is like what like that's just neurons firing in your brain,
hmm
translated into something that's real, and that's like still something that a lot of artists struggle with, and it doesn't surprise me because like you're manifesting a feeling into something real, and how do you even start with that? There's no manual about it. There's no set of like right or wrong ways to go about it. You just have to do it
Exactly.
by feeling, and it
Right.
it's kind of similar to how like I've asked artists in the past, like how do you know when a piece is done? How do you know when to step away from it? How do you know when you've added the last final detail? And the answer I always get back is it's just a feeling.
Yep.
Like there's
And
no
it might
green
it might
progress
not even
bar.
be done. Like
Yeah.
like it might occur to you like many years later that there's one more detail that you needed to add, you know. It might not ever be a totally finished product. But it is, yeah, like you said, like a general feeling that's very hard to pin down.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you even begin translating that into the English language? How can you even um, think that something like that would even be possible? There's not really a word for it because it's as you said, like you can come back at it years later and think, oh well, I've had these such experiences in my life, or I've learned this about this kind of artistic medium, and I realized that there's this actually like needs a touch of this, needs a touch of that, and
hmm
it's not like an automatic process. There's no box to check off. It's a feeling. But yeah, AI art. No, it's very interesting. I get the hate that people have to it, but I'm excited to see what is going to come out of it because it just keeps getting better and better and better in front of our eyes, and
Me too. And I think the bad stuff, the slop, as they say, it's gonna get kind of filtered out as people start craving more quality. So I'm not too worried about that wave of slop. Like, you know, every that Mac Bacone guy has become so popular just because of the amount of effort he puts into it. So people are just going to gravitate toward the most effortful creations.
yeah, and slop has always been around. I mean, like how many
It has,
times
yeah.
like how many of us have walked into like a grocery store and you always see those like there's always this giant shelf of novels made by authors that you've never heard from, and it's always like
hmm
some like romance book about a woman living in Spain with like some kind of like a werewolf. I don't know, some kind of like a murder fantasy.
Yeah.
Like there's always those kind of like rom com books or what have you, and it's like, well, yeah, but that's always existed. Like the what was it? Do you remember that song by Crazy Frog?
I do. I do. That was on everybody's phones, right? The ringtone.
Yeah, like that.
That's a
That's
great early example of slop, yeah,
absolutely like it
or
makes it
internet
makes no
slop.
sense. None of it,
Mhm.
not the music video, like not the character, no part of it makes sense, and it's just parts of the song are literally just sounds that the
This is
frog is
actually
making.
coming back with that Italian brain rot, but I'm not too familiar with that subculture. I just know that it's picking up steam.
Haven't heard too much for it, but I'll take your word for it.
It's some kind of TikTok trend with all these like AI characters that kids are making, and
Hmm.
it keeps getting more and more complex. And I think they're getting like there's like ongoing storylines. I'm very much on the edge of it, but I'm not sure what to think about it yet.
Oh well, yeah. Like the best one is Skibbity Toilet. You know that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I tried watching some of that and I had to tap out. I will say the kid put a lot of effort into this thing. Um,
It actually is
wasn't
a lot more work.
exactly yeah.
It's a lot more work than
Man, it's
people give
still
him credit
going,
for.
huh?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
big time. But like this is all like animation that they made in I believe it's the Source engine. So like
Ah,
you would have to like physically move everything. There's no like automated process to it. And his work in making this happen, like I can judge the piece of media like on the actual content of it, but just the work itself that he had to put into doing this and to continually do this, it's not nothing.
no, it's not. Um, on that note, I'm kind of like, mind if we call it pretty soon? Because I'm like, I have some things that I need to get done.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, cool.
Was there anything that you wanted to finish off on? Any, I don't know, future works that you have planned, trips or whatnot, or just anything that you wanted to discuss?
Just that I mean, I encourage people to keep following my account because I've only posted like 600 pictures or so. I have like hundreds more. I have no plan of stopping anytime soon. Um, I have a lot of really old pictures on CDs that I'm going to upload. And I'm still kind of developing a vision, finding a vision. So the account is not going anywhere. It's going to be active for a very long time. Um, Thanks for interviewing me too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. No, thanks for coming on. I
Hmm.
had initially stumbled on your page just thanks to the algorithm, and they're just some really nice shots. There's not really any. Once again, the English language fails me. Um,
Yeah.
they're very nice to look at. Um, you can tell that there's still a lot of experimentation going on in terms of finding like a coherent
Hmm.
style, or like a
Hmm.
more unified style. But realistically, like it's yeah, these are great shots of just everyday things, as you said, that we would ordinarily pass by, but put into the right frame, there is a certain beauty to them.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
Sure.
thank you very much.
No, no, thank you. And in terms of socials, I would also recommend setting up like a link tree or something to have
Sure.
all your stuff in one place, because that'll just make it easier to navigate.
Yeah, I'll think about that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, right on. So yeah, if you guys want to check them out, it's at SSQTS. Is that also your Instagram handle there?
No, that's something else. I'll add that later.
Gotcha. So
I
yeah,
can't remember it offhand. But
give Sasqets a follow. Looking forward to see what you come up with in the future, man. And yeah, once again, thank you for coming on. It's been a real pleasure talking to you.
same. Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.